No, the title is not an exaggeration. Well, maybe a bit. It may not have saved my life, but it sure as hell saved my sanity, which would have affected my life, which in turn would have been the death of me. So yes, it did save my life. You see, in Mech Warrior 5, a game that made its first appearance back sometime around 2009, the good old days to some of you. I don't know what my demographic is. You know what? Oh, give me a sec. Where is my demographic? I have girls in chat. Have I have I been streaming and making videos and making to girls this whole time? What? Ah, right. Okay, there you go. Had to change it up a bit to 90 days. But wait, hold on. You're telling me the people who've been watching me recently are only girls. So what happened to all the men? Am I supposed to change what I do now? Huh? Am I supposed to do what? Am I supposed to cater to the female audience now? Am I supposed to do like boyfriend experiences? I don't know how to be a boyfriend. What happened? What happened to all of you? What happened to all of these? Why is it suddenly? Why is it suddenly this? I guess I have to pivot my content now. I guess I'm doing boyfriend experiences or something. I don't know how do you do a boyfriend experience? I've never been a boyfriend before. Fucking virgin boyfriend experience. Oh, hey, you've arrived. Oh, I didn't think you would come. Like I didn't. Take a seat. Take a seat. Let's sit down. We can talk as we sit down. Ah, there you go. That's a lot better. Uh, yeah. How was your day? I was so nervous this whole day, this whole time, this whole week, really, just waiting for this day. I didn't think you would say yes to this. Uh, uh, we should order food. Let's order food. Here's your menu. Um, yeah. You you look good today. Is that what you want? Is that what I'm supposed to do now? Huh? The virgin boyfriend experience. I'll start doing that. If this number doesn't go up. If this number stays as it is. Oh no. It was supposed to be released far earlier than it did. But then Microsoft said no, and PGI turned whatever they had been working on into MWO, Mech Warrior Online. Fast forward around 10 years later, in 2019, single-player Mech Warrior 5 was finally released. Everyone can now pilot some of their favorite mechs in a PvE environment, not having to worry about their internet connection, game population, or Moby Dick over there. Since the game's release, it has had multiple DLCs, about 7. 8 soon at the time of this writing. The latest DLC, Shadow of Kerensky, is probably the most authentic clan invasion interactive experience yet. You will be standing on the front lines of the invasion and experience everything firsthand. The DLC is exactly how it was described in the books: apocalyptic, defeats, and hopelessness. That was the problem. This DLC actually made me want to jump out of the airlock without my helmet on. I am still just about halfway through it by the time of this writing. If you were like me and you return to the old save that you haven't touched in months and just jump in and just wanted to get yourself clan mechs and technology, well, you'd be in for a giant slap in the face because the difficulty level just spikes. And if you're not ready for it, like me, you will not have a good time. And so there I was, stuck in a limbo, not sure what to do. Do I start over and build the war chest in anticipation of the invasion? Do I power through and hope for the best? Or do I go sideways and try to salvage this save? I chose the third option. And so I did side missions. I built up whatever I could and eventually did contracts against the clans, and I began winning. With each victory, I gained their technology, their Omnimechs, their goddamn clan weapons. Oh, how much I hate clan weapons. Eventually, I scavenged the subject of this video, the Uller, the C configuration specifically. And with this configuration, I was able to one-on-one a man-o-war and win. Now, I realize that the man-o-war is basically the clan's version of the Charger, and it's a big boy with shit all for armor, relatively. But that still doesn't change the fact that I destroyed an assault mech in a light mech with mostly machine guns. These fucking machine guns can melt armor like it's butter. A freaking Puma S, that's the one with the machine guns, right? Melted my 2 king crabs in seconds. This DLC has further deepened and hardened my abhorrence of anything clan. I fucking hate this thing. The Tanite Worlds, a collection of 4 planets located in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Sometime in the mid-2900s, this collection was taken over by Clan Cloud Cobra. With the system under their control, Clan Cloud Cobra now had excess resources that they could use for their own weapons program. Now, this is where something weird happens. In the 3050 UTRO, that's the updated one, I think that's what U means. It says that the Uller's development began sometime around 2890. Now, I know we need to be a math genius to understand the discrepancy here, but do not worry. I have a calculator. Now, you see, 2890 is exactly 75 years before 2965, the year Clan Cobra found a place. So somehow, some way, Clan Cloud Cobra discovered a way to time travel. But anyway, one of the first few fruits born from their weapons project is the Kit Fox. Cloud Cobra likes planes more than anything. They have one of the strongest air force and space forces in the clans. Their ground forces, though, is a lot to be desired. Actually, the weakest of all, according to this. So, as a remedy for this issue, the Kit Fox was designed in a way that made it flexible in the roles it can play. Cloud Cobra gave their design weapons suited for every range bracket, and if further specialization is needed, then you have 16 tons of omnipods to play with. That's more than half its weight, but even with its prime configuration, Kit Fox is potent with many threats. Evidently, this is a clan Omnimech, so it uses clan technology and is modular. Built on the Process 12 Endo Steel chassis, the Kit Fox is a 30-ton light Omnimech powered by the Starfire 180XL fusion engine, good for 97 km/h. Pretty standard speed for a light mech. The prime configuration arms the mech with an LBX-5 autocannon, but only with slugs and no cluster rounds. No shotgunning for you. That's what the small pulse and streak 4 are for. If you run out of ammo for the LBX though, don't worry. You still have the ER Large to snipe with. These weapons are targeted with the Series 30 multi-track targeting system with communications done through the Cobra Talk 12. Cobra Talk sounds like a some kind of chatting system on it's like Cloud Cobra freaking Discord or something. The mech is protected with 4 tons of compound H18 ferrofibrous armor, and cooling everything down are 10 double heat sinks, which are more than enough to handle the heat this thing generates. I've yet to overheat the Uller as of this writing. As you can obviously see, it's got a relatively thin head and torso area. This is enough for enemies to have a hard time shooting at it. I don't know how to justify this quirk, right? I feel like clan mechs in general are like wider than Innosphere ones. Look at them. Do they not look wider? I feel like they are wider. They look wider. But somehow this is compacted, so whatever. In my test game, I used the Ulla Prime mainly as a sniper. That is its actual battlefield role. I just had it stay in the trees behind everyone else, and which were, two pumas, a fire morph, some other light omni, I forgot. But long story short, the Uller just sniped up until the final mech when I pushed up to it and hit him with the small pulsed streak. I think you could use this as a flanker, but I would say on average you'd use this as a sniper. Speaking of pumas, this guy right here, William Pride, got his legs mangled after a puma blew up right next to him in his Kit Fox, which resulted in one of the SRMs to fly straight into his cockpit, not into, like, to hit his cockpit, resulting in shrapnel mincing his legs irreparably. It was so bad that even clan medicine could not fix it. Don't know why they didn't give him cybernetics, but anyway, after executing his technician for not spotting the weaknesses of his specific Kit Fox, he would spend the rest of his life training Jade Falcon Sipkos as a falconer, a trainer basically. Speaking of cybernetics, we got another casualty of the battlefield, Star Captain Lynn Roshak. She got both her right limbs replaced with cybernetics after a Comstar Griffin blew her up during the Battle of Tukayid. Now she hates Griffins. That plus some internal clan drama resulted in her being a bit of a loony, with her regularly taking on threats that are just far too strong for her equipment, the Uller that she pilots, and sometimes even shoots her fellow clanner to secure herself the kill. Stay away from this lady, she a bit crazy. Oh hey, look! If you watched the Stalking Spider video, you might have just seen her before! It's Lore Master Eleni Riaz. She's back. She pilots one of these things. Did she do anything special for Kit Fox? Not really, she just pilots one. Just reusing assets here, that's all. We can now explore the 19 standard configurations that the Uller has. I'm going to go through the list, not alphabetically, but chronologically, based on the year of release. The years on Megamech at least. The first one, of course, is the A. The A replaces all of its weapons with a Gauss rifle and 2 ER mediums. This is basically another sniper flavor. The damage output of the Gauss is the same as the LBX and ERL combined, but it does have a bit more range and damage for its secondary weapons, which is nice. You will still use it as a sniper, but I was a bit more aggressive with this one in my test game. It was one of the 3 mechs I had frontlining, but normally you would use it as a sniper. This was such a revolutionary design because before the Uller A, not a single light mech ever carried a Gauss rifle. It was such a huge surprise when Fatcom forces first saw this thing during the invasion. Along the A config came the B config. The B is for those who prefer ballistics more than energy. Instead of an ER and LBX5, you get a single Ultra AC-10 for your sniping purposes. Its secondary weapons are not too different from the Prime version, with an ER small SRM6 and an ER medium. This one you can afford to be more aggressive. Maybe not the front line, but in support of one. Remember, you only have 4 tons of armor on this thing, which is not a lot, but if you position yourself properly and keep moving, you have the potential to do a maximum of 44 damage, which is not insignificant at all. For some reason, Cloud Cobra skipped C and went straight to D. The D is pretty straightforward. It's a missile boat, 2 LRM-15s and an LRM-5, and a NARC launcher. But to be fair, that is a lot of missiles for a 30-tonner. Even most trebuchet models, which are 50-tonners mind you, don't carry that much. Not much to report on the gameplay end. I feel like all missile boats play the same, just have them stay back and lob missiles. If you need to, you can do close range fighting since clan missiles don't have a minimum range, but I would say you do that only if you have to, like you've got jumped or like you're like one of the last few ones standing. Assuming of course you still have ammo by then. If you don't, I guess you can go against the clan code and start kicking. But some think that having more missiles than a mech 20 tons heavier still isn't enough firepower. So in 29-21, some people decided to have the light mech carry an Aero 4 launcher. That is a technical missile for the uninformed. There is not really much to say about the V config. It's an artillery unit. You just put them at the edge of the map and let them rip. And if your front line collapses and you get jump, well, you got 2 ER smalls to tickle them as you run away. But I do see this thing being a legitimate factor if you're doing like a full-scale strategic level campaign. This is a missile launcher, a tactical missile launcher on a very mobile platform. You can shoot and scoot pretty well. What you do? Fast forward to the invasion. Well, it was definitely a gigantic slap in the face for the Innisphere. It was also a slap in the face of the clans. Turns out the rest of humanity does not abide to your rules of warfare. What's that? Batchal? Why, thank you for telling us exactly how much you will be fielding and where you are. You just made our artillery boys' job very easy and allowed us to set up our traps accordingly. So the clans had to adapt. They had to change. Among the many changes was the creation of 2 new Uller configurations. Finally, they got the alphabet right. The C config. Now, I haven't used all the configurations as of writing this exact part, but I will regardless say that the C is my favorite configuration, mainly because it allowed me to progress Mech Warrior 5 and save my sanity. Is it good for tabletop? I will report to you in a bit. The C is described as a proper scouting configuration with a potent anti-infantry and missile capability. It has everything you need in a scout, ECM, a tag, and an active probe. The C could work well in tandem with the missile book configs in both offense and defense. For offense, it can mark targets with a tag, and for defense, well, if a missile counterbattery comes flying towards them, then it can use its 3 anti-missile systems to intercept them. If you think 1 AMS was a lot, this one's got 3. So good luck trying to get past that. The weapons it carries are mainly geared towards close-range infantry fighting with 2 machine guns, a small pulse, and 2 anti-personnel pods, but you can still be a sniper with the ER large. Surprise, surprise! Its performance on the tabletop is nothing like it is in the video game. It is not as potent because machine guns in tabletop are a lot more reasonable, a lot more realistic if I may. You can't melt armor like it's hot butter on the tabletop with them. Like, imagine taking out like a modern MBT, like a freaking Abrams or something with a 50 caliber. You could probably do it. Like if you got behind, got close enough, got climb the roof, right, and then point the gun downwards on the turret, right, on a very specific spot. But in general, if you were to shoot at it at a reasonable distance, let's say, I don't know, 500 meters, you are not going to shoot through all that composite material it's got on it, right? At least not within your lifetime, which will be short because you are shooting at a tank. Does this change my opinion? No, it doesn't. The C is still the objectively best config, and that is not bias speaking, right? It has been proven scientifically to heal headaches, alright? I was a test subject for that experiment, so I know what I'm talking about. The other invasion configuration is the S. The S is a pure city fighter. Those pesky IS barbarians hid infantry inside buildings during an honorable duel. What in the Zelbrigen? All of its weapons are relatively close range, with a pulse laser of each size, a streak SRM4, and 2 machine guns. The S is also the first Kit Fox that can soar through the sky, thanks to its 6 jump jets. I made a critical discovery as I was testing this config. You can actually overheat this one. If you were to shoot all 3 pulses in the SRM, you would overheat. If you did overheat and want to cool down a bit, but still want to do damage, you could forego 1 or 2 of the pulses for a turn or 2 and shoot the streak. Test it in a city map, and just like every city fight, you can just hop around. Just hope that you can move last, so you can jump behind the other guy and, you know, pump him full of that up the ass. The W config was created during the Year of Peace in 3051 for training purposes by all the wolves. Clan Wolf in Exile, and the Wolf the Goons. And the Wolf in Exile comes later, but whatever. Pretty simple loadout. 2 large pulses and 2 medium pulses. In my test game, I think I used it incorrectly. With the large pulses, I got too aggressive with it and went frontlining, with completely forgetting the fact this thing has only 4 tons of armor. Least to say, it got destroyed pretty early. So with this knowledge, I'd say you keep this as some kind of sniper, or at least mid-range fighter. It also overheats. This one also overheats if you fire both large pulses, so you have to pick and choose. I just read pulse and I just thought to myself, this thing's a CQC fighter. The E comes next in 3054, the first post-invasion configuration. This is the first proper knowledge application configuration that was not made in a rush. Presumably, like the previous 3, I'm assuming they were made in a rush, or in a relatively short time for for testing, whatever, proper testing and all that. The E is the first one where the cooling system was messed with an additional 2. It can also jump, just like the S, but it's not a city fighter. Armed with an ER PPC, an ATM-3, and an ER small, the E would be a form of flanker or ambusher. Now that the clans found out that Zellbrigands, Batchels, or whatever sensibilities they believe didn't really apply to the modern, relatively unrestricted Innisphere battlefields, many clans began to diverge from those beliefs, some more than others. So, mech fights, especially against Innisphere forces, are no longer the ritualistic duels that they used to be. The way you would use this is almost like any other Ullers. Sniper. From the failed game I play, I think you need to draw them in first before you can do the whole jumping behind them tactic, because mine got destroyed on his way trying to get behind them. In the same year, they also made the G config. The G config is another missile boat, but this one's a bit more balanced in its combat capability. Even if you expand all the missiles from its 2 LRM-10s, you can still do long-range fire with its ER large and medium. 6 extra heat sinks to cool them down. It's also got an ECN system, so in some ways this is a tactical version of the previous V, the one with the arrow. You can shoot and scoot at closer range, while also being able to deal a nasty surprise if they manage to catch you. Honestly, I feel like this would work in tandem, like the E in an ambush. Like the E can be the thing that the enemy focuses on, like it jumps around, whatever, while this thing just lobs missiles just from, out of view. 5 years later, in 3059, the H config debuted, and it's basically an upgraded A config with heavy medium lasers instead of ERs. This plays exactly like the A, except you have better close range capability with the increased damage output from the heavy mediums. A year later, 3060, the latest model to have jump jets came out, the J. Like the H before it, it's basically an upgraded version of an earlier config, specifically the B. Where the B carries an Ultra AC-10, this carries an Ultra AC-5. Where the B carries an ER medium and small, the J carries 2 ER mediums. And where the B carries an SRM-6, the J carries a Streak SRM-2. Less maximum damage than the B, but you do gain more mobility. Better for you to use this as a flanker. That was what I was trying to do. But then that Mad Cat 4 went to the same place I did, and that didn't go too well. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that these two models completely replaced the A and B configs. 3060 Noise introduced the F, which is another flavor of the old A, except this time it's geared for more relatively close range and anti-infantry vehicle engagements. The F comes with 2 medium pulses and a HAG 20. You can snipe the HAG. It actually has more range than a normal Gauss, but if you want to do maximum damage, you gotta get a bit closer than usual. U configs are always interesting. The letter U is usually reserved for hostile environments. In 3077, in the far end of the Jihad, someone in Jade Falcon, presumably, thought that they needed to bolster their blue water capabilities. Maybe they faced Blake's underwater or something, and that did not go too well. And so, by using the Kit Fox as the base platform, they made a torpedo launching weapon system capable of firing 40 torpedoes at once. Yes, this thing carries 8 LRT-5s, long-range torpedo 5s, with an ER medium as point defense. Of course, if you want to move around in the water at a reasonable speed, you need UMU, and the U has 6 of them. Underwater combat is lethal as hell. Like, honestly, the moment you lose armor, you're just dead. All the water comes in and you're just dead. The Ula U is basically an underwater missile boat and should be used as such. This might come as a surprise to you, but this thing is useless out of the water since it only has one gun it can use, the medium gun, the medium laser. That's the only thing it can shoot if you bring this out of water, because torpedoes, surprise surprise, don't fire out of water. Exactly 11 years later, the K configuration debuted, another close-range version that you can get. It comes with an improved heavy large laser and an LBX-10. It can do damage with its improved laser alone. It's 16 damage a pop, but I would say this is more geared to fight medium weight at max, because it can only do 26 damage if you hit both of its weapons, which is a lot, but not as much as others. Almost 2 decades went by before a new config was made. The Eye config came about in 3101. This is an overall improvement to almost every aspect of the Kit Fox. You get a supercharger, which boosts the top speed to 108 km per hour. You get modular armor attached to its limbs and sides. And on top of it all, there is a targeting computer. So, it is a fast, more durable and accurate sniper. BV-wise, it is the highest too. So, on paper, this is the best Uller you have access to. That being said, do not take this thing to face an Atlas II. It survived longer than I thought it would. But keep it a sniper. A fast, flanking sniper. Then an actual 2 decades went by before the R debuted. This is the most potent close-range config with its rotary AC5 and Streak SRM6, which deals a maximum of 42 damage. Assuming you hit every shot of the AC5, of course, and it doesn't jam in the process, which would knock you out of the game for about a turn or two, if you're lucky. You can still snipe the AC5 alone if you so choose. Single shot or multiple times if you want. But you know what I like the most about this one? It is priced exactly at 5.2 million. Like, it's 5 to the rest of zeros. It's beautiful. Now, guess who's back? Back again. Blake is back. Back again. Kind of. After the clan invasion, Comstar split, with one half being more secular and the other half being the word of Blake. After the jihad, the remaining Comstar continued their duty without the whole religious aspect of their order. Partly because most of the religious members were no longer there, and the Republic of Sphere made sure that they stayed that way. But of course, to truly eradicate something is difficult. Remnant forces and secret factions remained within Comstar, one of them being the Blessed Order. Now I'm sure I will get to these guys eventually in a proper lore video or series, but long story short, they want to bring back the religious Comstar from before. The Blessed Order built its secret armed forces using Omnimex. The Uller was one of the few models they use. In 3138, they created the BLO config. The BLO, BV-wise, is the weakest Uller config at only 988. Its weapons loadout is the same as the original B, except the Streak SRM is replaced with an Innisphere C3I system. Connect this to a network and you get a slightly more accurate Uller B. That's exactly how you're supposed to use it, just like the Uller B. A sniper, just like most of these guys, the rest of the configs. And finally, in 3142, the latest T configuration was introduced. I have a feeling this one was created by the Raven Alliance, one of the smaller clan-based Innisphere nations. And this is entirely because it mounts a Proto-Mech AC4. The Raven Alliance, or more accurately Clan Snow Raven, is one of the 2 clans that still operate Proto-Mechs in a significant manner. With the weight savings from the smaller weapon, the Ravens install a supercharger to the engine, allowing 129 km per hour upon activation. This is the fastest Uller by a margin. Other than the AC4, the T mounts an ER large and medium, and a Streak SRM4. It also comes with a strong sensor suite in the form of an active probe. On a strategic scale, use it as a scout, obviously, but tactically, you can still use it as a scout, but you should definitely use it as a flanker. Use all that speed that you've been blessed with. I almost won that game. Almost had him. God damn it. Now, while this was originally a Clown Cobra design, the Uller was made famous by Clan Jade Falcon instead. When the mech first appeared in Clan Space, it turned out to be a very good design, as Clan Cobra was able to achieve a string of victories against Clans Jade Falcon and Coyote. Cloud Cobra was one of the more scientifically and technologically advanced clans after Operation Klondike. There were instances of Clan Coyote wanting to take their advancements by force through many trials of possessions. However, sometime before the invasion, Jade Falcon Khan Brett Malthus, who may have been retconned out because I don't see him anywhere, barely gained the production rights after winning a trial of possession on the planet of Babylon. Now, why did Jade Falcon want this mech so bad? Well, the 2 men prefer a tactic they call Nathakulor, the strike of the unswerving sword. This tactic, in its most basic sense, is Rush B, with B being the command and control element of an opposing force. It is an all-out attack to break through the enemy lines so they can cut off the head of the snake. This calls for mechs that can hit hard, and the Kit Fox can definitely hit, at least for a light mech. It's not as fast as most light mechs, but it is fast enough for the amount of firepower it can carry. Throughout the invasion and beyond, the Uller was mostly seen only with the Jade Falcons in the Inner Sphere. The other clans would rather have faster mechs if they needed speed, and heavier ones if they needed firepower and armor. If you do see a Kit Fox in another clan, then that is the proof you need to know that you are facing a secondary line force, though of course there are always exceptions. A relatively fast mech with incredible firepower was a surprise to Innisphere forces, who mostly use light mechs for scouting or support roles. The Commando is fast, but generally doesn't hit hard. There is one variant of a large laser, but most of them don't hit that hard. And then you got something like the Panther, which hits hard, but it's not that fast. It's honestly just a smaller Vindicator. But the Vindicator is a bigger Panther. Facing the Kit Fox on the battlefield inspired Innisphere to create its own relatively fast yet hard-hitting mech. The Arctic Fox, for example, is a reverse-engineered Kit Fox, while the Hollander was the Fedcom's attempt at making something similar. The Federate Commonwealth took heavy inspiration from the A configuration when designing their copy, the one with the Gauss rifle. However, sometime before the start of the Il Clan age, Jade Falcon had started producing these mechs, probably from the whole clan fracturing thing. Presumably, Falcon Kit Foxes are slowly being replaced with something like the Ger Falcon, or one of the other bird-looking mechs. But do not worry, the Uller is not going extinct anytime soon. Clan Snow Raven had required the build plans through trade. I could not find specific dates. However, after they became the Raven Alliance, they began producing more Ullers for themselves, using their Snow Raven Industrial Complex beta facility on Mechella. The Ravens used their Ullers to very good effect. In one instance, in 3072, multiple Scout Stars with Kit Foxes hunted, isolated, and destroyed elements of the 3rd Crucius Lancers on Salam 4. This was such a famous event that multiple books in the Holo Entertainment were created based on it. More recently, in 3144, it was during the conquest of Inner N where several Kit Foxes configured for mobile artillery support, so probably one of the missile configs, maybe even the V Arrow config, destroyed the Davion heavy anti-air defenses, allowing their air elements to destroy the rest of the defending forces. I like this thing. Mainly because the whole Mech Warrior 5 thing, it really changed the progression level for Mech Warrior 5 for me. Like honestly, if you get the DLC, just the moment from the first clan mission, just put everything in salvage and get yourself a clan mech. You will save yourself a headache down the line more than you can. Yeah, I don't want you to experience the headache that I experienced. It is bad. It is not good. This thing saved it along the other two, like another two mechs. But this one was the one I played the most because you know what, the triple AMS thing. Not only does it have a very satisfying sound, it is very useful for not taking damage because 4 tons of armor, not a lot. Honestly, the machine gun on Mech Warrior 5 is just too powerful. Like, I literally melt stuff with them. Unbelievable. Maybe it's because I'm also shooting this small pulse laser when I shoot a machine gun, but still, it's so strong. It's unbelievable. That's one thing why I like about this. The other thing I like about it, look at his head. I like how it looks. I feel like if I put like beady eyes, like little one little eyes at the side, it looks like a lizard. It doesn't look like a fox. It looks like a lizard to me. And lizards are cute. Have you seen a tegu before? You know what a tegu is? It's a giant lizard with giant cheeks. Them boys are cute, and I would like one. But I feel like if I get one, something might happen to it, not to me. I think it'll be fine, but something might happen to it that's beyond my control, which will not be good for it. I think I'll be using this more. I really like this thing. I wish the game model looks a lot more like the book mod, like the book depiction of the Uller. Like I like the book depiction more. If it's like it's not really a glass. Like, I guess it's more of a camera than a glass viewing port at the front of the thing. In the game, it's literally just it's a glass viewing port, but in the books, in in tabletop whatever, it looks like it's like some form of camera to me, which I think is cooler. I'm surprised they don't use just cameras. I mean, I guess cameras. Then again, if cameras break, you'll still be fine. You'll be blind. If a glass break, you're probably gonna be dead. Just saying. But that's it for this week briefing pilots. I think that's a pretty long one. Is it a long one? I don't know. It feels like it's been a long one. Maybe it's a short. I don't think it's short. It's gonna be a very long one. If you enjoyed that, if you'd like to see more mech overviews and other lore videos concerning universes of mechs, mostly this Gundam for now. I want to start doing more Votom stuff as well. But Votoms isn't as big as Gundam or Battletech, so that's not really much source book there. I'm gonna have to figure that out my own somehow. Hopefully one day I can do it. Then subscribe, also known as join the fleet. Join the fleet and become a pilot, and you might just get a mech to pilot yourself. Then you can shoot those Earthnoids because they keep bullying us and I hate them. I am not the leader of the Jupiter colony. This is not me telling you to fight because I'm a dictator or something. No. I'm just following orders. As you would if you sub right now. You should sub right now. Like if you're not willing to sub to join the fleet, coward, or click the hype button. Apparently there's a button called the hype button. I don't see it anywhere, but apparently there's a hype button. Click that. That'd be good. Right? Spread the message so other people, more braver people than you, will join the fleet in your steed while you stay home and practice your left arm on yourself. You can also join the Discord, personal graveyards I like to call them, or the Jovian public chatting system. It's a bit more active usually. Not really. I'm the most active user there. I've also, I mean, I got an X account, but I don't really use it. I guess maybe I'll start using it, just posting random shit over there. Oh, excuse me, friends, my Francois, excuse me. But I got that now. Hopefully I remember to put the damn thing, the link in the description if you want to see that. I haven't posted that much. By the time of this recording, I've posted like 2 things. But if not X, you can catch me on streaming. Yes, I stream on Twitch or here on YouTube. I stream my game, my simulation sessions, my training simulation sessions. Yes, you can learn where I learn how to become a better pilot, and you can also watch so that you can become a better pilot yourself. Learn from me, from my mistakes, and apply it to your skills so you don't make the mistakes on the battlefield, which will cost your life. Do what I do. No, watch what I do and learn from them. Glory to the Jupiter colony. Glory to all the pilots, the fleet, and everybody in it. Take care, fight those Earthnoids, and remember, do not die.